Welcome to From Home to Hustle. I'm Kelly Campbell, and I'm passionate about sharing stories of incredible stay-at-home moms who are building businesses and creating income from home. Well, hey, welcome back to From Home to Hustle. I'm your host, Kelly Campbell, and this is the place that if you feel God has called you and inspiring you to start a business while homeschooling without sacrificing your family time, this is what this channel is about. Today's guest is no different. The CEO of Success Without Sacrifice, Cheree Sauer, transforms how leaders achieve success without burning out. Drawing from her master's in sports psychology, 14 years working with high-performing athletes, and 2 decades as an entrepreneur, she developed the innovative RAMP method. Through coaching, speaking, and retreats, Cheree empowers business leaders to achieve extraordinary results while preserving what matters most. When she isn't working, she is traveling and experiencing life with her husband and her 2 sons. Cheree, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. I'm so excited to be here and get
Me too.
to talk to your audience.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, like how old are your kids and how long have you been homeschooling? And then what started you in business?
Yeah. So my boys, I'm a boy mom. My boys are 12 and 10, but going to be 13 and 11. So we're going to have our first teenager here very soon. We're actually having his birthday party tomorrow. So
Oh, fun.
yeah, so that's our boys. We've been homeschooling. So we started in a charter school initially. And then COVID happened,
Mhm.
and our boys were home, and our oldest just we were really struggling to get him to do his work. And we were talking to teachers, and they were like, "We don't understand. He does everything in the class that we ask him to. Like he's such a good student." And he was like fighting and arguing everything. And
Mhm.
I started to, and we had always questioned if he had some like, dyslexia or some sort of learning disability. And COVID made it really apparent, even though every
Mhm.
teacher had told me he's fine, he's right on track, he's doing good, he's just a little behind.
Yeah.
And so we all ended up homeschooling during 2020, which was not my favorite thing. I never wanted to be a homeschool
Mhm.
mom. I will
Okay.
tell you, I still don't want to be a homeschool mom, to be perfectly honest. It's not like my heart's desire, like most homeschool moms, I feel like. We were kind of forced into it out of necessity for our
Right.
children. And yeah, so that when we went back to virtual school, he was having a really hard time. Because he was trying to read what was on the screen, and he would
Mhm.
come, get me while I'm trying to work. And by the time I got there and we figured it out, they were on to the next thing. And so he
Mhm.
made it about a week and a half into virtual school. And he was in tears every day and it was horrible. And yeah, so that's really, it makes me a little bit emotional, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and it was that like really like the first year of homeschooling him was just literally like deschooling and rebuilding his confidence because he would say, I'm
That's a
dumb and I'm
lot.
stupid and I can't
Mm.
do this.
My
And so
mama
to
heart
see
right
that,
now.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he no longer says that. Yeah, which makes me so happy. We spent the first couple of years, honestly, just rebuilding his confidence and
Mhm.
helping him be confident in his skills
Wow.
that are different than the traditional school
I'm going
model.
to stop you for just a second because, first of all, I love your honesty that you said I did not want to be a homeschool mom. Like I had no desire, but you were obedient.
Yeah.
And look what the fruit of your obedience caused. It caused your son to just see himself in such a better light and not believing the lies of the world. And so I know that there's a lot of homeschool moms out here. There's a lot of homeschool who are like, I felt called to homeschool from day one. Like I'm doing this and I'm in the trenches. And now they're like, but I feel called to business now. But
Mhm.
you're like, I don't really like it. I don't really want to. It's not my heart, but I'm going to be obedient because God asked me to. And look at this. It's a beautiful story. It really is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I remember we used to do a fellowship, and a friend was like, and I was like, I could never homeschool, and he was like, well, just be open to where God's calling you. And I was like, no. And then like a year later, there we are. So, it
That's
is.
so great. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt, but I just wanted
Oh
to
no.
share that.
Yeah. I think the other question you asked me is, why did I start business? Is that what it
Yeah.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. My background is actually sports medicine. So I worked with athletes for 14 years, and that's a really high burnout industry
Mm,
because it's a lot of nights and weekends and travel. I traveled for almost 6 weeks straight when when my firstborn he was like 8 months. And so that was really hard. And so I realized like this is not going to work. And I took a leap of faith and I became a stay-at-home mom. And I thought that it was going to be cupcakes and rainbows and dinner was going to be on the table by 5. And my kids would be happy and I would be happy. And after four
mhm.
months, I found myself at the kitchen table, bawling my eyes out and like crying out to God, like something like this can't be it. I know that you didn't
Preach.
life and these kids for me to resent them. I literally resented being
Hmm.
a mom. I hated being a mom. I hated my life in that season. I was
Hmm.
absolutely miserable.
Hmm.
And so I ended up going back to work part-time, just a couple days a week, and that was perfect. I got to work in a clinic setting and the hours were great. I got to use my skill set and I also got to be home. And I realized that I was a much better mom when I got time with my kids and I got to be away from my kids and do
Hmm.
something that had purpose outside of the mundane
Right.
dishes and keeping the house clean.
Yeah,
I'm a
absolutely.
high achiever my entire life. And so being at home with kids, I couldn't just check them off my to-do list. And that hit like a worthiness button in me that
Mhm.
was really hard.
Yes.
And and so then I was let go from that position. They downsized, unfortunately, and then I was stuck of like, okay, now what? What do I
Mm,
do? And in that season of being a stay-at-home mom, I started to recognize I didn't know how to take care of me. As a healthcare provider, I was really good at taking care of everybody else. I didn't really understand what my own needs were. A lot of times I would hold my breath or I was just in a high stress state and I didn't even
mhm.
realize that I've been living in a high stress state my whole life. And so I started to
Okay.
learn that self-care was like so important to my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. And when I took care of myself, that made me a better mom for everybody else. And I became super passionate about teaching other moms like self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And
That's
as
good.
moms, we get in this guilt of I feel bad if I take time away from my kids. And it's
Yes.
no, it's so healthy for you and for your children. And so I had started a self-care gift box company, and that was in 2017, 2016. And after 3 years, I experienced burnout. And that's kind of where the ramp method came in, and I transitioned in coaching. So that's kind of the big picture of everything
Wow.
for me.
Your story, I mean, it's different from the other moms that I've interviewed, but it's also the same theme where you start with your own need. You start it with, something that you needed, and then you turned it around and go, wait, I'm not the only one who's struggling with this. I want to come alongside and help those who are. And so like your story is no different. You find what you need, and then you can turn it into your passion. You can turn it into your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's business, right? Like a
Hmm.
good business will survive because they find a problem to solve.
That's right. They find the problem to solve. So if you're sitting there looking like, what is your own problem right now in your life? Like, what's your problem, right? Figure out and ask the Holy Spirit, like, how can I turn my problem into a profit? How can I turn my problem into my purpose, my passion, and then eventually your profits? And so the Holy Spirit, who is our partner in business, he will show us and help us.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. I remember when I started my gift box company, it was called Heartfelt Mamas. And um, I remember God just telling me that like it was going to I got this vision of a tree and like the roots going down and the impact that it was going to have on, you know,
Yeah.
families, children, communities. And the interesting thing is that, when you have that sort of vision, you think that it's going to go a certain way or God's going to provide a certain thing. And so I thought it was going to become this $1 million company and, all these things of like
Yeah.
what we think it's going to be. And it wasn't. And honestly, it got to the point, part of the burnout was, I it wasn't profitable enough to sustain
Mhm.
our family. And in order to make it profitable enough, I would have had to outsource everything to like a manufacturer.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. And so I had to get to this point of like, I'm not feeling fulfilled in this because I'm putting a bunch of products and services in a box and I'm shipping those off and I'm not getting to
Yes.
see the transformation.
Yes.
And I knew it wasn't creating transformation because um I had partnered with, I would put like free massage gift cards in there and they were not getting cashed in. And I was like, what is happening? And so as you start to dig into the mindset, you have to tackle it from the mindset of what are the beliefs that are keeping you
Mm.
stuck from investing that time or money into yourself. And so that's what really, when I really kind of started a transition to coaching, is because I was like, I want to actually help people create transformation, not just
Yeah.
give them a band-aid. Um,
Yes. That's so good. I know one of the things you said in your bio is that um teaching leaders how to achieve success without burning out. And so but your coaching is not just about that. Like it's yes, you can get burned out in business and you can get burned out as a mom. I mean, gosh, I mean, I wish that every day of my homeschool life is like the sunshine and roses and the children running around with bare feet and home cooked meals or like cookies on the counter and everything. And it's not like that. And some days it's like, guys, mom is done. Like
yeah.
I mentally cannot anymore. And so that it's so important to know your limits. And
Yeah.
then, like you were saying, like not feeling guilty. Like there is a part of you that as a mom, as a stay-at-home mom or a homeschool mom or a business mom or whatever, that you have this guilt, like I should be my all all the time for my children. And that's not healthy for you and it's not healthy for them
Oh, that's so, I love that you pointed that out of like, I feel like I have to be all the time. And
all the time. Yep.
I think as women, men struggle with this too, but they don't talk about it and it's a different weight. I talk about women are the CEOs in business and they're the CEOs at home. They're the decision makers.
Hmm.
And there
Yeah.
gets to be a massive decision fatigue. And so it's really like understanding like you are not does God did not design you to be on all the time. Um God designed us to have rest. How many stories of Jesus going into the mountains? People needed him. They needed healing. They were waiting for him.
Yes.
And yet he would go up into the mountains and seek God and get refueled spiritually and physically and mentally and emotionally. And
Hmm.
we can only pour so much out from a cup until we have nothing left to give or until we explode, which is what I did.
Yeah.
Just straight exploded on my children. I was not nice to my children in that season and often apologized because I really I was not a nice person.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was I didn't understand what was happening in my own body.
Hmm.
And nobody taught me. Like, I didn't know, right? Like, nobody taught me how
Right.
to regulate emotions or even pay attention to them. I was the shove it down, move on, shove it down, move on, like
Yes.
ignore it, kind of like it's not there. And that's not sustainable long term. And so,
Not.
uh, the where the ramp method really came from, and you were talking about not being on all the time, is uh I think we are in a society that it's like you got to be the perfect mom, you've got to have the perfect house and the perfect children, and you've
Hmm.
got to have the food on the table. And if you're not doing it all, then you're failing. And part of that is what we saw our parents and our grandparents do, and what was a good mom. And part of it's society, and part of it is like we also there's an achievement. And if you're achieving, then you're worthy. School teaches us that if you get the A's, you're worthy and you're good. And if you don't, then you're bad.
Yeah.
And so we have all these beliefs and layers that we have to kind of shed off and really get down to like, who are we and what do we value? And so the ramp method really came from that place of I can't do this anymore. I can't be on up here all the time at
Hmm.
100%. This is not sustainable. And I tried for a long time, and then I would hit the wall and I would burn out. It would
Yeah.
take me forever to recover. And you come back. And so in sports, they have a 3-to-1 rest to performance ratio. So sometimes when we think like work-life balance or being on and what does that mean? We think like a 50-50, but in sports, they have a 3-to-1 rest to performance ratio, meaning they have an off season, a preseason, an in season, and then a poster peak season. So the
Mm-hmm.
poster peak season, that's your going for the Olympic gold medal, the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those championships games, everything they do in all the seasons prior
Right.
to that is for like going for the gold, right? That's like your peak performance.
Okay.
But in order to be in peak performance, there has to be a step up there. And so the ramp method is really designed after the sports world and how I saw this play
Mm-hmm.
out. And it stands for rest, align, master, peak. And so rest is it's self-care, it's
Mm-hmm.
efficiency, it's not only taking like it's not just sleep, but it's mental, emotional, physical, and
Oh yeah.
spiritual
Yes.
rest. And then align is like being in alignment with your values and your priorities. Because if you are not in alignment with your values and your priorities, life is going to feel stressful and it's going to feel chaotic. And that was one of the things that I had to really learn of what am I doing and why am I doing this and who am I doing it for? Because a lot of what I
Mm-hmm.
was doing when my kids were younger was because of what I thought I should do to
Yeah.
be a good
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
Um, and then master is really like mastering your mindset, your limiting beliefs, your communication, learning how
Mm-hmm.
to communicate with, different personalities. Um, and then and then peak is like that's your busy season, that's peak
Mm-hmm.
performance. And so when we talk about the ramp method, it's you can apply this to your day, to your week, to your month, and to
Good.
your year.
That's good.
And uh, women, especially like men, are more productive in a 24-hour period, but women are more productive in a 28-day period. And that's how God designed us. He didn't design us to be in peak performance every single day.
Mm-hmm.
He designed us with seasons, just like the seasons of the earth. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think when you learn that and you learn and understand the physiology and how God designed you, it's such a like game changer that
It is.
makes me so happy to share with people because it really is. And there's so many examples in the Bible of this, of
Mm.
seeking rest. God rested on the seventh
Yes,
day,
he did.
and
Yes.
yet we see rest as it's this bad thing or it's this negative thing.
Right. Right. And we have to kind of like debunk that mindset. I like how you put language to massive decision fatigue. I have found myself saying at the end of the day, I can't make one more decision. Do not ask me, and I'm like telling my kids or whatever, do not ask me if you can or cannot, or if you should or should. I can't mentally answer that. And I even wrote that down, massive decision fatigue, because it's real. And I also wrote this down that as a mom, if you're already a mom and you're, homeschooling everything, you've probably already experienced this, but you will experience burnout at some point as a mom, starting a business, working your business, in your marriage, you're going to experience burnout. My question to you is, are you learning what to do about it? Are you learning who to take it to? And if you're not, obviously, Cheree is a great place to start, and she can help you in your burnout because that's what her coaching business is all about. I want to ask you a question about practical steps really quick. When you started your coaching business, how did you market? How did you start marketing?
Oh gosh, I will tell you, marketing is my like biggest nemesis pain point. It always has been when I had the gift boxes and then even with coaching, um, because part of marketing as a coach is like, well, when I first got into coaching, it was all about being on social media. And so I put all my time and
Right.
energy into social media, especially like Instagram. And, people are like, oh, I'm on Instagram and I'm making six figures and da 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 da. Um, and that's great. And that works for some people.
Hmm.
That was very draining for me.
Hmm.
However, I did it because that's what I was told to do.
Right.
And what I learned over the years is I am a people person. I'm a networker. And so I had cooped myself up inside, like when my kids were still in school, I cooped myself up inside and I would be in front of the computer and I'm trying to do all the things. And I'm spending so much time and energy on social media and I'm missing out on all these amazing
Yeah.
networking events. And so, um, when I first started my business, I did what I was told to do and what everybody said you should do. And a lot of that
Right.
was social media. And
Right.
did it work? Yes, it did.
Mhm.
Was it fulfilling to me? No, it was
Hmm.
absolutely draining to me. And that's that's one of the things with burnout is really understanding like something can work for somebody else and it can be amazing. And if it's not working for you and it's frustrating, it's not for you.
Yep.
And so again, like
Yep.
going back to that Holy Spirit of like, okay, God, how do you say I should market my business? And what does that look like? Because what works for one person doesn't work for somebody else. And so I have really shifted in building relationships, whether that's through podcasts or speaking. I'm a speaker now, and then networking. And so I get out to as much in-person networking as I can. Now, there is the other side of that, and there is email marketing and there's social media marketing. And
Right.
so 2 years ago, I actually recognized that we actually got on the road. We were living in an RV and we had started traveling, and we didn't have internet service at a lot of the internet or cell phone service. And so I was like, I can't grow a business
Mm.
if I'm not in person networking with people and I'm not
Mhm.
able to be on the internet. And so I actually ended up bringing on a business partner. So I have a business partner and she's our chief marketing officer. And she does all of our a majority of our marketing, especially our social media marketing. And that allows me to go out and do the things that I'm good at and spend my time in my zone of genius. So,
I love that. I think that is so important. I say it, I've said it on the channel before, but there's a scripture, and I think it's in Zephaniah, but it talks about rubbing shoulders to shoulders or standing shoulders to shoulders. And to me, that is such a great way of like describing networking is you are literally in this space with like-minded people, the same people who want to encourage you to see your business grow, to see you grow. And so that is a great place. And if you're an introvert, you kind of got to get out of that, and you got to that sometimes that could sabotage your relationships and your ways of marketing and growing. And so I would definitely take that before the Lord. Well, we are almost out of time. Quick question: how can people reach you, find you, get a hold of you?
yeah. So a couple places. Personally, you can find me Cheree Sauer Coaching on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then we also have social channels, Success Without Sacrifice Coaching on all of those same platforms. We don't do TikTok. We're not on TikTok. Uh, and then we also have our Success Without Sacrifice show. And so I do a lot of tips on YouTube. Um, and calling out different things like, are you feeling overwhelmed? Here's a tip how to shift, those
Wonderful.
kind of tangible
Mhm.
things. So, and I love just to meet people, chat with people. So if you heard me on here and you're like, I just want to connect with you, this connected, not as like not seeking you as a client, but just as a relationship. I love building relationships with people. So I would love,
Yes,
send me a direct message.
I love
I
that.
respond to all of mine directly. And then our Success Without Sacrifice page, Tara does that, and then she'll bring me in if I need to be in the
That's
conversation. So,
I love
uh,
that. I know
yeah,
that's why I like talking to you, because it's like talking to a friend, like we've known each other for so long and actually we haven't. And so that is this marketing at its finest right here. And I will put all of your links down in the description below. Okay, one last question, and I ask this
I,
for all of my guests. Oh, go
I
ahead.
was I was gonna say before I forget. So I do have a free gift. I have a Success Without Sacrifice ebook. So if any of you are like listening to this and you're like, "Oh, I want to know more. I want to dive into this a little bit more," I'll send you the link for that.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
and
be
then we
great. Yeah, and
have
I'll put that down
a
below.
as I say, we also have a 25 signs of burnout and three
Ooh,
tips, 5 tips for recovery. So both of those I'll send and happy to
yeah,
share those with your audience.
please do. That will be very helpful for sure. Okay, one last question, and I
Yeah.
ask this from all of my guests. Okay, and yours is today, what's for dinner tonight?
Oh, that's my like least favorite question in the whole world.
I know it's
I tell everybody my personal goal in life, the reason I run my business is to hire a personal chef, like no joke. It's my like least favorite question.
I know.
We
And
don't
how
do a
many your
wedding, so
kids
I'm not
ask
sure
that a
what
lot?
we're doing. Oh, yes. Like they'll
Uh,
ask like the day before morning. I'm like, I don't even know what's for
I
breakfast.
know.
Don't ask me what's for dinner. You tell me
Yes.
what's for dinner. Uh,
Exactly.
we've started bringing our boys into the meal planning, and
Yes.
making them choose a meal a week, so then they don't get to complain about it.
It really is helpful. And it's a life skill. It's a life skill.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny. I mean, part of me is my whole business is like baking and cooking and things like that. That's where like I started. I have no idea what I'm making for dinner tonight either. So we'll
I
figure it
like
out.
baking. I don't like cooking. I think it's the like frustration of trying like a new one, just having to take time away to cook,
Yes.
first of all. It's not like something that brings me joy. I like baking, but cooking. And then if you try a new recipe or you don't have the ingredients you need, then you got to run to the store. It's like the whole process.
It's true.
But we're going to a
It's
wedding tonight.
okay.
So,
So
but
that's
I have
covered.
allergies. So I'm like, I'm not actually sure what I'm probably gonna have to get something else and take it with me. I don't know.
So great. Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Well, I really enjoyed. Thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing all this practical advice. And like she said, that she literally found a problem or what she was struggling with in her own life and turned it into a business. And so maybe that's your homework tonight. Think about what you are struggling with and what the Lord is walking you through, or something that He's just recently walked you through, and ask Him, Lord, how can I turn this into something to take territory for your kingdom? So, guys, remember to let your light shine before all men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Until next time, be blessed.